So we talked about lymphatics in another video. Glymphatics are basically the lymphatic system in your brain. And what is special about the lymphatic system of the brain is that it doesn't exist. And so you have the arteries that bring the blood into the brain. You have the veins that bring the blood back into the body from the brain, which is mostly through the jugular vein. And then there are sinuses where the venous blood circulates and stays in different parts of the brain. In addition, there is a thing in your brain called the cerebrospinal fluid, which is the fluid in which your brain sits, and there's also ventricles in the middle of the brain that hold the same fluid. This fluid actually does the work of what lymphatics would normally do in the rest of your body. The only thing is that they only circulate around the outside of the brain and also at the center of the brain. So then the question is, what happens to the actual tissue of the brain that's sitting between those two reservoirs of fluid? Well, we discovered only somewhere in the range of 2015 that when you sleep, the channels that are between your arteries and your veins and your nerves open up and allow the flow of the fluid either towards the top, where the fluid sits on the outside of the brain, or towards the center, where the fluid is sitting inside the ventricles. And it was subsequently recognized that the importance of sleep and how much it may contribute to the development of neurodegenerative disorders and dementia. So that you, depending on how efficient your brain is, you need a certain number of hours of sleep per night in order for this cleansing of this gutter fluid around the brain cells to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then now you have created basically a stasis in your brain. And when things don't move and they are in stasis, the problem becomes similar to what happens in a pond versus what happens in a lake. In a lake or in a river, you always have flow. Therefore, things don't get a chance to grow in a stagnating body of fluid. Whereas if you look in a pond, it's always some algae, some mosquitoes, some different things that can take advantage of the stasis. And so what you want to get away from is stasis. You want things to move. Your body is a dynamic entity, and we need movement of not just our muscles, but also of the fluid that can accumulate with toxins in our body.